politics. It's politics. This feels like it has more. There's more gravity to it. There's more.
That's why I used the word gravity this morning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to overlook the gravity of what's happening right now. We're in the middle of this change that is not really even a change. It's more of a revelation. It's like revealing what is actually the pulse going on right now.
And I mean, we could look at it in many ways. I mean, sometimes you have to sleep in the bed you made, because
sure. Deal with the consequences of your choices.
Well, I don't agree with a lot of what Bernie's philosophies were. Bernie, a lot of the people who voted for Trump in that Rust Belt were Bernie.
They were Bernie people,
and I think Trump did a really good job of creating a populist movement that spoke to that.
Sure,
spoke to that audience specifically, and I think that audience there bought into the message that
especially if they were the lesser of two evil formula people,
right?
Because they were feeling closer to Trump, even though they weren't Trump supporters. They felt closer to him than they did to Hillary, because all they watched is their candidate get trounced on by her.
Yeah.
So there was automatically this resistance to her.
And I think Trump is you got to give him credit. I mean, the guy created a movement. He said it last night.
It's a movement. He didn't even call it an election.
No, it's a movement. He created a movement, and both you and I are in business, so and because we're solopreneurs, so to speak.
Yeah.
We're in the business of marketing. We have to market ourselves and our business. So we're in the business of creating movements. So this is a good treatise on how to create movements. Yeah. I think it's a scary.
There's a pro and con to that.
Yeah. It's a frightening movement that he created, and he really preyed on people's fears.
Sure. Yeah, found or unfound fears.
Correct.
But the thing is, like, it's a great study in my opinion, it's a great study from the perspective of what it looks like to pick a lane and stay in that lane for a really, really, really long time,
no matter what,
without deviating. Yeah, even to the degree of offending other people, pushing other people off, but casting them aside.
Yeah.
But what happened is it drew in and then affixed all the people that believed that, which is what we've been hearing from Simon Sinek, Malcolm Gladwell, all these other thought leaders about the whole start with why, talk about people for profits and all this, and it's like movements can almost be untouched even if you're saying the wrong things and having the wrong behavior. Yeah. And that's the con side of it, is like there's a lot of things that are just so inappropriate that people completely overlooked because they were a part of something.
Yeah. But you get groupthink. I mean, I'm gonna give it to him. The guy's a master salesman.
Sure, he just freaking sold half the country.
He knows how to message. I'll give him that. He knows how to message. And his message was strong. It was one of, things suck, things are bad, and I'm gonna make them better. And there's a great book, True Believer. I don't know if you've read it. It was written in the 50s. I don't remember the name of the author right now, but he studied the powerful movements of our history. I mean, the author talks about Adolf Hitler and Jesus Christ.
Sure.
In the same paragraph.
Yeah.
Times, when you create movements, how you.
Not the reflection of character, but polarizing.
Exactly. Not in the character aspect, but how do you create a massive movement to take action and follow you? Right. And as a marketer, that's so intriguing to me. It's beyond intriguing. Marketing is a lot of psychology, and I think Trump used a lot of psychology. I think where people are right now, at least for me, me personally, I think I'm not in shock in the sense of, wow, I didn't see this coming.
Well, it's surreal.
Yeah. I think what I'm feeling that for the first time we have a victorious candidate that instead of creating a massive movement of positivity, created one that's completely polar opposite.
Frustration.
And I think a lot of us are feeling the rug burn of that. It was so negative. It was so negative, and it's and I don't think we're used to that as a country. We're not used to, because we're very, as Americans, we're very positive thinking. We're very forward thinking typically, and we're very optimistic. And this is the first time that it hasn't been optimistic at all.
Something else I thought of yesterday was, again, it's another sports analogy, just 'cause they're just so familiar. But you know how like there's before you become a professional, there's college players, there's semi-pro and all that, and they're recruited, and you do all these statistics, and you think you have the right prospect, and they meet all these markers you're looking for to fit a specific position on your team or plan for the future, and then they get to the pro level and they fail, or they get to the pro level and they get injured, and obviously they can't play at all. And then there's the then there's the other. There's like, I'll just say the Tom Brady's of the world, where they go widely overlooked, underrated. They don't meet metrics, and then they get to the NFL and they do these amazing things. And like I was thinking, okay, which one's going to happen? Is it that we just saw a really good recruit who is good at getting picked and is not going to perform, or are we going to get someone who was the underdog from the beginning, did everything that was unconventional, didn't measure up to any of the metrics, but will do an amazing job? And frankly, I don't have a preference, but I hope it's both. I hope it's did a good job of getting enough attention to go do the right thing, as opposed to get enough of the wrong attention and do wrong things. Because sometimes that transition can be really hard and incongruent because it's already incongruent the day after.
Yeah, I'm just, my hope is that using the sports analogy, I think a lot of times, often those players, all they really need is a good mentor or a good coach to kind of nurture them and mold them and see the potential in them. Hey, you know what? You're really good at this. Like, you've been focusing on that. Let's do this, and you're going to be great. And oftentimes, business people and professional athletes, they just need that one person or persons in their lives to really pivot their path so that they can achieve greatness. And I'm just really hoping that I'm really hoping that he surrounds himself with great people. Not just people that say yes, not just people that say yes, but people that say no. You know what? That's not That's not the right thing to do.
Because a person of character would do that. Right? I mean, someone with, again, because of the public onslaught of negativity, it's hard to think that character is there. But you're right, and I agree, because if it was just you or me, what I would want for Miguel is I need Miguel to have the right teammates, because him having the right teammates affects me
big time.
Even if I don't like you, I still need you to have the right teammates.
Let's look at Phillip Rivers, man.
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't like him.
Well, man, he's a great quarterback. He's a great quarterback, but he doesn't have all the weapons, and the coaching is not there, and the weapons. His offensive line is always broken down, so he doesn't get the protection that he needs, and he can't get over the hump because he hasn't had the right chemistry of people. So, man, I love our country, man. I love being a part of the fabric of this society that makes us so great. And I'm not gonna say one of the saddest things I think that happens in elections is when people who lose, or their party affiliation, whatever they lose, their candidate loses. I really it's saddening when people say, well, that's not my president, I didn't vote for him. Right. I think we have to rally around whoever's victorious. We rally around them, and then
I agree.
And we have to pray for them and hope that they do a good job. I mean, it's a hard job.
But you and I, we've already seen enough elections, and we already know there's going to be knee-jerk reactions. We already know that people are going to have the immediate response of sadness, anger, fear, frustration, outcry. But the thing that is, I think the thing that is important, at least in my household, is that we had already pre-decided how we were going to feel, regardless of who was selected. I said to my wife and I had already talked about, we're going to instruct, teach, and guide our girls to care for the people that they're around, regardless of who's president. We're going to teach them to be genuine and kind to people, regardless of who leads us. And we already kind of do that as a core tenet of our family anyways, but because there's so much divisiveness right now, it's actually needed more than ever. So I didn't go to bed upset. I didn't go to bed happy. I didn't wake up thrilled. And I didn't wake up depressed. Because I still have to do this. I still have to engage with you. I still have to care about the people that I care about, regardless of what they think too, because in the end, I'm responsible for how I treat people. Regardless of party affiliation, what I voted for, voted against, and how I actually feel. I still have to care for people, and it's my job as a dad to demonstrate that to my daughters. Otherwise, where are they going to learn it? They're not learning it in their peer groups.
It's funny. It's funny because I hear one of the sayings I hear often is charity begins at home.
Yeah.
And I think people really misinterpret or misuse that saying because they say, you know, they're thinking is charity begins at home. Well, I don't. I'm not charitable. I'm not generous in the outside world because charity begins at home. I got to take care of my own. It's kind of people have taken that saying and made it that. I got to take care of my own first.
Right. Or but only about money taking care of my own.
I'm going to take care of my own. But the reality, the true meaning of that, the origin of that saying or adage is completely the opposite. It's completely different, and it has nothing to do with taking care of your own. The meaning of it actually says charity, which if you look at the old Latin word, it's love.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Love begins at home. At home is where you start to teach your kids and your family how to love the world.
Right.
It's our responsibility as parents to teach our children to love.
Yeah.
To be gracious, to be better.
Yes.
For the planet, for their fellow human being. It's actually that saying means like, hey, I gotta do a badass job, a really kick butt job at home to teach my kids to love the world, to go out there and do good. Yeah. And that's charity. That's love.
We have to teach them how to respond.
Not incubate and like, oh my God, take care of my own. No, it's like go.
Right.
We have to take care of the world, man.
But you're right. And the thing is that today, kids are waking up and they're being taught directly and indirectly how to respond to times like these.
Yeah.
Because there can be proactive parents that say, hey, this is how our family responds to times like this. This is how our family demonstrates X, Y, Z. And then there's going to be people that are going to be upset and mad. And they're not going to actually proactively say anything, but their attitude is going to reflect how those kids should also react in similar situations. Because we're constantly teaching, whether we want to admit it that we are or not. Even in our worst time, we're unfortunately teaching our kids our worst habits. And in our most proactive times, we're teaching them our best habits, our most healthy habits. And like, you know, probably now more than any time I can think of in the last decade is a day where, maybe even a week or months ahead, where it's totally critical for us to be willing to have open conversations like this, number one, but accept the responsibility that we have to teach our kids how to respond. This is not the only thing that they're going to face in this life. That's going to contest what they agree, go against what they might believe, or in the case of people who firmly believe that the outcome was right, not to boast, but to be humble and still do what's right, regardless of there being opposition.
Right.
And
over into real society. Now we're into this. We're in the society of just tearing people down. You know, not you know, we're not admiring people for their. You know, I think differences are great. I think people are entitled to their own opinions, their own perspectives.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Social media doesn't replace this. Yeah. So this is us having a conversation face to face, real time, stream of conscience. You know, when you post something and I comment and then you comment, we have forethought and we can delete and we can, you know, kind of curb what we want to say and then we can go back and edit it later if we want to change something. And it's like, you know, that's fine in the copyright world where we're doing PR and marketing and advertising and all that stuff. But like we have to continue just being real. And it's difficult when people are afraid of being real. So it requires us to take this personal responsibility of being real to ourselves and being honest to ourselves, and then being real to the people that we're physically present with in that moment, and then being real to the people that don't yet know us as an invitation to get real with us. And that is so difficult when we only do this and we're on our devices. Now, I'm on my device all the time. Not saying it's bad, but and we're going to post it on social media where people will watch it on their devices. I get that. But the point is that relationships that are executed like this are much more long lasting, have greater transparency and ability to actually help form change because they're not static in nature. And when we do things online, it's static and it's changeable, and I can say one thing and then change my opinion, and then I can erase what I said before and hope that no one screenshot it and saved it or whatever. And it's like, there's always ways to cover up, but I can't cover up in front of you. We're talking about it live. You're looking at me eye to eye. You can see my body posture, my tone, my rate.
Your micro gestures.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, and I think one of the things that we have to gain perspective on is that, man, it's okay to disagree.
huge ass problem if everyone agreed on everything all the time.
Well, let's look at
That's actually the definition of cult.
well,
that's what Ivan says.
Right?
If everyone did what I told them to do all the time, it'd be a cult.
Yeah. Shoot, let's start our own cult now. Just kidding. But man, let's look at Cuba. North Korea. You disagree with the prevailing thought of the government, man, you're gonna be
You're not allowed to.
You're gonna be in jail, or you're gonna be dead.
I have a friend who decades ago immigrated here from Vietnam, and who had family that were were sent to camps to be retrained on what it meant to be a national Vietnamese and only be Vietnamese, and other people of his family who were killed trying to flee and escape and find freedom, and he found freedom here. And so there's these amazing immigration stories that come from people who did the right things to get here, stay here, and be here, and they're telling their story. And you're right, there are other places where we can't even have this conversation. And we would not only can we not have, we wouldn't have it here in public, we would even be scared of having it in private.
We would, because I wouldn't know if, hey, maybe you're a government, you're tied into the government agency, and
absolutely,
whatever I say, you're gonna turn me in.
Absolutely,
I know a lot of Cubans that felt that fear. My good friend Frank just immigrated here from Cuba, and he's got these stories about just neighbors turning on each other, and over petty stuff, and they just turn them in. And
tearing each other down.
Yeah, man. And so we cannot allow our country to go that way. So,
no, but that's up to us at the personal level first, because we can wait for big government to do it, state government, local government, or law enforcement. Yeah. But honestly, I don't really want to need any of them to have positive relationships in my life. I shouldn't need any of them to help have boundaries and guardrails for me to have positivity, even if we disagree.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to come to blows. Like, our rules of engagement are totally off. It's like, oh, we disagree, let's fight about it. Yeah. And then guess what we both agree on? Fighting. Yes. Like, so people that actually fight with each other actually are in agreement that fighting is worth your time. Yeah. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
It's crazy. And you know what's crazy?
Jerk. Yeah. But it's probably 2 to 3 seconds of my entire life of 37 years.
And so I don't think I know. As an electorate, as a citizen, we have to do better at educating ourselves, reading books, reading articles, just having a basis of knowledge of what the issues are, so that when we disagree, we can converse elegantly and with thought and real, genuine knowledge and interest, so that we can get to a better place. Because we don't always have to agree on everything, but I think from those disagreements, if we have real dialogue, real constructive criticism and dialogue will lead to better things. Yeah. I mean,
well, and you're certainly right in the becoming more education part too, because there were a couple of things locally that at first glance, or from a marketing perspective only, I'd go, oh, well, I'm certainly not going to vote for that. But then when I actually read it, and I understand the context of it, and also the formula for why it is put on the ballot in the way it was, I was like, oh, well, wait a minute. I can't vote no for that. I have to vote yes for this.
Well, that's bring up a good point, because those measures were so confusing, because some of them, if you vote yes, it actually really means no.
Correct.
And if you vote no, it means yes, and you're like, what the heck am I voting for?
Well, and there was one, so I'll speak really quickly on one that was local in Chula Vista, which was P, which is the tax hike.
Yes.
So the whole thing is, oh, it's a 0.5% tax hike, our tax would go from 8 to 8.5. Well, actually, we're at 8 now because there's a 0.25% tax hike that expires at the end of December.
Yeah.
So we'll be at 7.75 on December 31st, and then the half that goes up will be at 8.25. So we have a half jump, but after it reverts, right? So that's part of it.
Yeah.
And then there was this whole thing about, well, it's going to be going to the general fund, it's going to be misappropriated, and they're just going to spend it on politicians and this and that. And I was like, okay, I get that. So I asked the question, I said, why is it a general fund, not a specific fund? In order for it to be put on the ballot and receive yes for specific fund allocation, it would have had to be a 66% vote.
Yeah.
Whereas to go to general fund, it had to be 51. So if it's actually connected to things like public services and police officers and fire stations and that kind of thing, what's the greater chance for us to serve our public better? 66% vote or 51? So there's a level of consciousness that has to happen. Now, what's our responsibility as citizens? to trust it will happen, participate on the citizen oversight board, work with the people that are making those decisions, and there's also trust if we say no, that our public service people would be able to service us properly with deferred maintenance that hasn't been done, less personnel, old equipment, right? So it's like at one point I felt one way about it, and then I totally switched because I was like, wait a minute, it's unrealistic for me to think they can execute this for the next 10 years with stuff that's already 20 years old. And then it's wrong of me to just say yes without understanding, well, why is it this way? So I actually had a complete shift of perspective because I actually dug in and asked some questions.
So Andy, as we close this, what one last thought in closing for our viewers here that maybe are feeling the burn, not the kind of burn that they want to feel.
I don't think anyone's feeling the burn today. They're feeling burned.
They're feeling burned.
Yeah.
But what do you? One parting thought.
One parting thought. I went to bed thinking about this, and I woke up today thinking about this. we have to embody the fruit of the Spirit, and that sounds weird to people who are outside of biblical faith, and that sounds right to people inside it. So to both people, I'd say this: it really comes down to embodying a life that is peaceful, gentle, kind, forgiving, joyful, having grace and mercy towards other people, and working together, because we're not going to agree on everything. And again, we shouldn't, because that'd be just as bad for us long term. But I really just would implore people to take personal responsibility for what you do, what you say, and how you can impact the people that you interact with the most frequently. It's probably your family, your immediate friends, and the people you work with. You have to start there. We can talk all day long about Washington needs to be peaceful, patient, joyful, kind, gentle, but guess what? They don't know. They don't know me. I don't have a phone number to the White House. They don't. It doesn't. It's inconsequential. I have to do that here. And so for me, it's about embodying those things that are right characteristics for humans to coexist well in a way that promotes well-being for everybody. Again, religious or not religious, it's about promoting well-being for humans because we're humans. And I went to bed thinking about that. I woke up thinking about that. And it's my job as a husband, as a father, as a son, a brother, a friend, a leader in business groups, and not a public figure, but someone who's in the public eye a lot. It's my job to demonstrate that before I expect that from others.
Yeah, awesome, man. For me, I keep thinking about the Beatles, man.
What part?
Come together.
Come together.
Come together. Imagine.
I don't know if you're gonna rip out some like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band or
a little help from my friends. And all you need is love.
Mm-hmm.
All you need is love. And
that's right.
I keep going back to that, and I'll say that we need leaders, and leaders own it. Leaders respect. We need humble servants. Who lead with the perspective of a humble heart, and can get out there, no matter what the issue is, and do the right thing. But really, man, come together. Imagine that. So
right now, over me.
So maybe the Beatles have the answers to life, man. Shoot. Hey, we had Rolling Stones. Sometimes you don't get what you want, you get what you need, man.
Oh man.
So I think that was Trump's campaign song. But man, thank you. This session turned into something else. We had.
What were we supposed to talk about today?
We were going to talk about other stuff, man.
We'll do that next time.
We'll do it next time, man. So this coffee shop confessional went in another direction. We felt compelled to do so.
It's truly a confessional, though.
It is a confessional.
This is completely confessional.
I feel great, man. Thank you for doing this with me,
Thanks,
man.
man.
And I know that.
Thanks for the coffee.
We had another topic in mind, but I really enjoyed this. And but we're here at Paparaga and Bonita, great Hawaiian coffee shop. Come out and visit them. Man, until next time, amigos, stay caffeinated and motivated. Thanks, Andy.